Check your derriere.
Hold it!
Hi, Toll.
Hi, Sticky.
Hi, Toll.
Hi, Sticky.
Hi, Toll. Hopefully one of those is good. So, what's going on, Toll? Why are we re-recording this episode in a way that the listeners would have no way, and as such, we're completely showing our ass? Why would that be?
You're letting them peek behind the kimonos because I distracted you with my horrible mouth noises and made you delete your audio for week 15.
Don't frame it that way. It's my fault. See, this is what I don't take that framing. It's clearly my fault.
You were dummy. You're a dummy.
There you go. I was doing the work on Undertale 1, and I don't know what it was, but somehow Toll's mouth noises and she was bumping into the mic and all of these other little problems were way worse. So it took me about 5 hours to scrub through the footage, and I was losing my fucking mind. And then I looked over and I saw, oh fuck, there's not enough space on my work laptop. Okay, whatever. I'll just delete the old audio files. That won't matter. And I'm looking over at the video render, and I click over and I hit delete, and I deleted the audio for this episode, and that is my fault. I have tried everything under God's green earth. Let me try that again. I have tried everything under my power to fix it. It did not work. So we have to do this again. But that's fine, because we have to talk about something, and maybe this is like how Satan is telling me I shouldn't, because as we were getting set up, as I was hanging curtains around myself and doing all of my little bullshit and taking off my bra and putting on my gamer socks, I went to grab my Monster Energy, the Coco Loco or whatever it's called version.
No, not
out
the
of the
Coco
fridge.
Loco.
I took it out of the fridge, and it bumps into the side of my fridge very gently, just a little tap. And it immediately it squirted, it ejaculated all over my room. It's everywhere, Toll.
No,
Everywhere.
I told you, this is the curse.
It's literally on the floor. It got on Casper.
No,
it got on
Casper.
the desk. Yeah, there's a little brown spot on Casper right now.
No, he'll never forgive you. He has a spot on his perfect
He
white
left.
fur.
I wanted him to be in the recording because he hasn't been in the recording yet, and he left. He was like, "Fuck you. You're unprofessional. I'm not working in this environment."
You didn't read my writer. Where are my M&Ms?
Yeah. Where am I? Only the green M&Ms. Yeah, so that's not true. Casper would only want the red ones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably already a sign. But so yeah, this opening's gonna run for a while. So if you were just here to see the YIIKs, sorry, we have to talk about Andrew Allinson and how I think he hasn't changed at all.
Okay, sorry.
Go on.
But if I'm remembering this episode correctly, a lot of the opening is you running around in the mine dungeon?
Yeah, but we have to talk for a while.
Okay.
Like a while. So firstly, they released a video on their incredibly unpopular channel that is just called YIIK. Fun fact, if you attempt to find the channel, it is nearly fucking impossible because it won't come up under YIIK, obviously, and it's such a pain in the ass. I'm not going to link to it, and frankly, it is my hope that the Allinsons do not know about this Let's Play, and Andrew Allinson never interacts with me, because after this, I've become... I don't know how to put this politely. I don't know how to say these words without making them mean. I don't want to be mean, but okay, let me try to start from the beginning. So they get some guy who made a semi-popular YIIK video, positive for once, about IV, and they're just talking about this and that, why the guy has been pulled in without his knowledge to do a recording on this Q&A and all this, whatever, it doesn't matter. The important detail is it takes exactly 4 minutes before he somehow is able to bring this around to a self-persecution fetish about how the whole world was attacking me. They were coming for us, and other such statements that is so fucking weird. I don't know how to put this. It's really sad. It's sad. It's sad to listen to this man 6 years down the line from YIIK's original release complaining about how, well, but they just, it's because of the influencers and the essayists. They turned everybody against us. He uses some stupid big word to make himself sound smart about how if you come to a piece of art and heard it's controversial, you will as such see controversial things in the art, and then starts complaining about like, well, everyone was saying YIIK was controversial and now everyone just thinks it's bad. It's funny how the opinions change. And no, it's not. No, it's not. It's that most people who saw YIIK saw it for 5 minutes total, heard some vague things about the whole Lisa Lam thing and the incel adjacent commentary and the other problems, and then forgot about it. And everything everyone remembers is, oh my god, what's going on? It's, you look vaguely ethnic to me. It's Mark Scout babbling for 15 minutes about coffee. Nobody remembers YIIK. YIIK is not in the cultural zeitgeist as anything besides a meme. And I don't think that's deserved. And I do agree that there are people who were taking really bad, unfair shots at the game. I do see it. And I do, like, as an example, while I like the Running Shine video, there are parts of that video where I very deeply feel like he's twisting it to be funny, but he's not really giving them a fair shake. But at the same time, hearing you try to defend YIIK 1.0, a game so abysmal that almost every single aspect of the gameplay is miserable, a game so poorly made that the average person could not internalize any of the information, with the narration written like a book, with show don't tell written in big red letters that have been scribbled out and replaced with tell, don't show.
Tell.
Tell, just endlessly babble, exposition, constantly lampshade your exposition, so every exposition point is some, like, don't treat me like one of those anime girls. Oh, I'm glad you're able to keep up with my robotic exposition. Oh, your game is flawed. And I perceived that all the changes in IV must be because Allenson and everyone else involved in the dev team went, okay, well, we fucked up these parts, people weren't happy, we will try to make the game more like a video game, we will fix these problems, we will improve. And they did. But I honestly think that those were just already self-designated opinions. Is that the correct words to use there? He already knew the combat sucked. He knew the music was a little garbled. He knew that bits and pieces didn't really make sense. So instead of accepting the larger, broader points, they've just refined things they already saw as a mistake. And thus, they haven't actually taken a very well taken, like, how do I put this? The way he talks about essayists and influencers like they're the cabal is not great. And more importantly, well, I could agree that if he was talking about the Running Shine essay, that it's a little unfair. The Tesnakerar one is very genuine, and I still think that Running Shine is similarly trying to speak from the heart, even if he's attempting to make something funny. He clearly does feel things about YIIK. It's that it's hard to deal with all of the problems. So hearing this guy bring some YouTuber fellow in and then start complaining almost immediately about, oh, it didn't treat my game very fair. And then I there's spoilers ahead, and I don't want to spoil myself anything, but I already knew because I looked up soundtrack lists and saw something and went, what? And then realized what's going on. I'm not going to say a thing to you, Toll. It doesn't matter. You'll find out later. But I decided, you know what, I already know enough. I'm going to skip around and just hear what they're talking about, just out of curiosity. I'll just listen to little snips, and if they say anything important like Alex's preggers or something, I'll just mind wipe it. I have that ability. I can just forget things. And then I immediately cut forward and hear him say, yeah, even when we were public enemy number one, they were behind us. They had our back. And you made YIIK. 99% of people don't know your game exists. 99% of people do not care. And the people who do know aren't very flattered by it. Your game has running problems, and while you have made a lot of attempts to fix them, hearing you be this fucking bitter about it, it's really sad. And it just makes me wonder if he actually has internalized why people feel the way they feel, and instead it appears that, and this is the worst part, because I'm currently defending gamers, Toll.
Oh, I know you hate that. You hate gamers.
I don't want to defend gamers. They are, in fact, scum of the earth. A lot of them are miserable, and I do fully agree that there are people who were being wildly unfair about YIIK, treating it like all sorts of things. But at the same time, aren't you being a little bit pretentious, pretending like people couldn't get your game? It was too big. Could it just be you didn't do a very good job of explaining it? A game that is constantly referring to other versions of itself that do not exist in eyeline. YIIK 1.0 puts Yuzu, who we have yet to see, and Toll you already know, but let's just pretend we don't know, that doesn't matter to the plot of 1.0, and you would only know he exists if you played a fucking demo that came out in, like, 2014 that you have to go hunting around on the internet to find, and you're talking like that? It makes me realize that another comment that just really stuck with me is he's really bitter because people have compared YIIK to The Room, Tommy Wiseau's masterpiece, The Room, which is famous for being, well, it's written by someone who was staggeringly confident in the media he was producing, despite the fact that he was executing it extremely poorly, and that confidence is what led to the memorability of it. Does that sound familiar to you, Toll?
Yeah.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I read about it in a Korean newspaper.
Are you Korean?
No. Do I look Korean?
It's hard to say. You look vaguely ethnic?
The Room is bad, but it is beloved for being bad, and there is a place for that in media. Things can suck and still be loved.
And there are parts of The Room that are good. And hearing him be compared to one of the most popular films in the genre of bad media, a film so popular that even the most normie of normies knows it. I have been in the middle of Halliburton, a dipshit resort town that is 40% blue-collar workers and 60% yuppies, and all of the blue-collar people knew what The Room was. I could quote The Room at somebody and they would respond. That is popularity. That is fame. That is importance. And the fact that you would be compared to that and take it as an offense, it's arrogant. You made a bad game. You made a game so glitchy and fundamentally broken that even when you released 1.2, it was staggeringly filled with flaws. A game that had memory leak issues, a game that had constant issue after issue and after issue. And the other guy who's I've been vaguely referring to, no hate towards him, and as I've said, if you, listener, hear this, don't harass the Allenson brothers, leave them alone. But also, like,
harassing the Allenson brothers at this point will not help. They won't learn anything from it. It will just justify their own behavior.
That's a terrible... At this point, you're implying that at some point harassment would help.
That's fair.
You don't pick your words very correctly. No, do not harass people in general. Maybe an argument could be made to harass like Nazis, like real bigots, not the soft kind of bigotry that is a problem in YIIK. And that was the other point, is him fucking whitewashing, like trying to smooth over. No, who even cared? There was no real controversy. You took a real woman's death and then used it as the foundation for your entire game, in which Aerith from Final Fantasy VII prays over their grave. You have a scene in which fucking Rory looks at camera and explains the entire thing. That, you know, there's a lot of arguments to be had about that, which is why it's controversial. That's a real controversy. The game is filled to the brim with incel adjacent dialogue, and while some of the fans will defend it, I don't think they've thought that defense out very far. And I don't want to get into the weeds on the misogyny comments because it's going to take a lot of time, and I've been talking for 15 minutes. We haven't even hit play yet. If you've been listening to the whole of this, all 5 of my beloved listeners, there's more of them now. Told you know that? There's
you didn't tell me. That's so exciting. Hello.
Hi, I'm sorry that I'm so like this. Yeah, it's just so tiring. And there's a comment, I'll put it here, from somebody on the subreddit for YIIK, where they directly blame Toby Fox for the harassment that the Allensons suffered. And I'm not trying to talk down the fact that people definitely harassed them, but also, you know, when I see somebody like that who is speaking so clearly with preordained talking points that they've clearly been handed but don't really know the context or the logic, they haven't thought the position out, they were just given this idea, it makes me wonder, what has Allenson been saying in that Discord? And I don't know, I don't want to know. That is a place for people who like YIIK. I'm not going to intrude. I just want to talk about it from my perspective and what I see as a good and bad thing about YIIK. But when I hear him talking like this, and we get to the main point, the thing I'm hiding from you, when we get there, you're going to realize what's been driving me. Because you just make bad decisions, Allenson. Andrew? Can I call you Andrew? How about Andy? Can I call you Andy? You're making bad decisions. You are treating games like a book. You are treating pieces of this game poorly, and while that is your decision to make, and you could argue obviously that these are my opinions and from his perception these are good choices, are they? Is Mark necessary to the plot? Is he? Aren't there more, you know what, let's not even get into it. I don't want to be mean, but also the facts are just I don't know how to say this except the facts just imply he's really butthurt that YIIK is an Undertale. That's what it appears to be to me. And I'm sorry, buddy, but the Undertale is a game that can put so much thought into one tiny little room. Meanwhile, I have stared at Alex's house for so long, and I can tell you so few things about it. And most importantly, I can't stop thinking about the fact that you covered the walls in generic fucking like stock photographs. And I've had people defend to me that that is intentional, that because the entire game is actually inside of Alex's head, that it's just a representation of this and that, and I don't care because it's bad. It doesn't matter if you can justify it under some narrative context. There's just a picture of a beetle on the wall, and admittedly, indie dev, hard to get the money for this, I get that, but you have artist friends. Surely you could have asked one person to make something fun or simple. You could have just made, if you're a fan of art, you could have quickly whipped together some mediocre postmodern art and then said, well, yeah, it's the art in Alex's head, and it would have done the exact same thing and not just been a fucking photograph of a bridge or a ultrasound.
There are any number of tricks that you can use when you want to put something on the wall and have a character say a comment about it, but you can't quite get the literal image that you want, and you decided to use none of them.
I get you're an indie dev. I get it. It's really impressive that you succeeded in making YIIK to begin with. But your decisions are fundamentally flawed if you want people to experience and enjoy them. And just because you've been able to generate a fan base does not mean that those mistakes aren't there. It's just people who resonate with the plot. It's people who, as I've repeatedly heard from YIIK fans, who have a really deep connection to YIIK. And so do I. I haven't stopped thinking about YIIK since the day it came out. I don't think I've gone a month of my life since then not thinking about YIIK, not attempting to unravel the mystery. So you have to understand, it's really depressing to come out on the other end of it and realize maybe he's just really arrogant and he doesn't see that he's made these mistakes. And I don't know, maybe he said other things in other places. I didn't listen to the full YIIK Q&A because I wasn't going to get spoilers. We have to go through this as clean as possible. And most importantly, honestly, I've listened to multiple podcasts with him on it. I've looked at him talking about it in some blog posts or something of the sort. And I don't know, man. Sometimes I get the feeling that, how do I put this? Can I pull back the curtain? Actually, you know what? Let's actually start the video since it's been 20 fucking minutes, and then we'll yeah. So if I can pull back the curtain, one of the more classic Dungeons and Dragons, well, not Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop trick for DMs, GMs, and the like, is that when you need to give the appearance of constant confidence and that everything is going to plan. You need to give this, like, I'm put together, I know what's going on, this was all within my frame. And that when you pull back the curtain and go, oh, that wasn't planned, it needs to be chosen for specific moments. You need to be going like, well, obviously you players, you subverted my expectation. And that might not be true. You might have already planned for that, but you want to give them that sensation. It's half like what's actually happening in the game, and it's half performance. So when I hear him saying some things like passionately and heatedly, and then I hear him just be wrong about his own video game, it's really fucking strange. And if in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, during the YIIK, he says I don't know where it was, but in essence, the guy who's talking to him is like, hey, so, like, Alex never actually apologizes in the game. And he frames it in that way where if you say something in that kind of way and you like somebody, you're generally not going to argue with them, so you're just going to agree with it. And he's like, yeah, no, you could read it in the subtext if you wanted to, but he never actually apologizes. And literally the first time you go back to see Rory, you are given a prompt to apologize to Rory, and then you apologize to him. He says, I'm sorry, I was a jerk. You could imply he didn't mean it.
It's text.
Yeah, but he said it. He said those words. And the thing that made me realize is that's a part of the game he probably created 6 years ago, and he hasn't thought about in years. So he has warped his perception of Alex so much that he's forgotten his own writing. And sometimes it honestly just feels like he has reframed Alex as being constantly deeply unlikable, and that he never changes and never, nothing influences him, and that he goes from beginning to end as the protagonist, but he never becomes a good person. And maybe I'm misunderstanding his words. I'd have to listen a lot more. But listening to him whinge about why people don't like his video game, come on, man. Come on. Don't whitewash your game. The flaws of YIIK is why people think about YIIK. The flaws are part of the art. Attempting to act like they aren't there is not doing you any service. Okay, but I'm done being negative. I don't want to talk about it anymore unless you have anything else to say, Tol. We're going to...
At some point, I will have to watch this interview, I assume, when we are past that spoiler point, because I'm really curious what his specific words were and how he handled things, because this is incredibly disappointing.
I don't know how to put this, because if somehow Allenson comes to this video and hasn't watched everything before that's fine, I get it. 14 hours of me bitching and constantly referring to your incel adjacent dialogue as incel adjacent dialogue, you probably don't like that. And I don't want to get lost in the weeds here, but let me make something clear. I currently like YIIK I.V. Up until this moment, I was wholeheartedly excited for the rest of the game. I have been having fun, and while the parts that keep going back into YIIK 1.0 are disappointing because those are the worst parts, like, everything on screen right now is fun. This is, like, let's listen to the music for a second. This shit's great.
It's a jam.
It's perfect for the dungeon. This whole this room is really well done. I like the scary business suit Satan men. I don't know what those are. I'm sure somebody in the comments can tell us. I like how they've changed the combat. I like how they've changed so many elements.
All of the additional writing and story that they have done have been good. What they have been doing with Michael is great. They have made Chandra into an actual character with opinions, though she is still fairly flat because she doesn't get that much screen time. There have been improvements to the game. It's gotten better. I felt so warmly about it until this interview happened.
I have been empathizing more with the characters. I have been enjoying my time more. I have had moments where I have woken up and said, yeah, I want to play YIIK today. I'm going to record some footage. I did not want to play YIIK 1.0 despite the fact that I did repeatedly. I hated playing it. I did not want to play YIIK 1.2. That sucked. This is fun. This is good. So, you know, I was hoping you learned. We're done now. We're done. I do want to point to the Megabots, which are clearly meant to be like Go Bots or a bunch of other toys of the 90s. You know, the game is absolutely laced in this idea that nostalgia is one of its core themes, although to immediately get to complaining again. I think the problem with base YIIK and a lot of YIIK in general is that while it's attempting to go for, I keep using the word maximalism, but I'm using it so often I feel like I'm misusing it, but it's attempting to weave a larger picture, so a lot of things are not, like, I don't think the GoBots or the Megabots or whatever they're called are thematically important. I think they're just meant to be fun robots in the robot dungeon that are like, yeah, nostalgia. And I get that. But when there's these constant points where people feel like it is rubbing up against that nostalgia, it's what breaks the immersion. When there's a bunch of little NPCs from player characters being like, haha, yeah, 2016 is the year of YIIK, it's ruining my immersion. I'm attempting to be immersed in this game. And while I understand that Alex's shirt is meant to be his father's shirt and plaid was in fact a thing in 99, the fact that he acts, looks, and behaves like a 2016 hipster is really strange. And yes, I understand the reading that because the game is all in his head, most likely this is all just an imaginary dream world of Alex and blah, 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 and that Alex is an unreliable narrator and all this crap. That doesn't, how do I put this? That doesn't make it any better. If something is bad on purpose, it's still bad. When you constantly lampshade the fact that your writing is overly expository, that isn't making it better. It's just making me momentarily get pulled out of the game and go, oh yeah, I'm playing a game by a guy who's writing too much. When characters say things like, the last episode will have had Claudio doing his weird lockpick racist rant, it doesn't feel like a Claudio comment. It feels like an Allenson comment. You know?
It feels insecure in your own ideas.
Yeah, you're lampshading. Stop lampshading. You don't need to lampshade everything. Just fucking be confident. Look, I get it. I get that people have been abusing this game and YIIK for years. But there is a reason why. And I imagine that must be very hard to think about. Like, I personally have a project I want to work towards. And if I can get out of poverty and I can fix my arm, I am intending to work towards making a game. I have talked about this at length to Toll. She knows. I must have spoken hundreds of hours. I'm not going to get into it right now, but I believe in this project. So if I were to release that project and then feel confident in how I executed it and have everyone tell me it's shit, it would really hurt. But now, this is arrogance. Obviously, I'm not in the same position yet. But if it happened to me, I would sit down like Alex is doing and go, okay, what did I do wrong? Am I wrong?
Hey, so...
Okay, let's not talk. Well,
Look,
I mean,
I gotta
this
go away
dialogue
for a
can be
while.
summarized
I don't
as
know when I'm coming back.
his
Things-
dad sucks
yeah,
ass.
Things will be fine. Your mom is a
Yeah.
good mom. She's...
She has great
yeah,
gams.
look, you know I'm your dad, and I'll always be your dad. So, yeah. Don't forget that. Look, things might be
Okay,
tough,
I want to actually
but,
interrupt this because
yeah,
I have 2 comments to make.
um,
One,
crap, I'm terrible at
if
this.
everything's in
Sometimes
his head,
adults
then what
realize
is
that
and
they made
isn't in
mistakes.
his head?
And
How can we know if
sometimes
anything is
their
true or
mistakes
not,
cost
except
a
by
lot of
whatever
money
the
and
Allenson brothers
require a
believe
lot
to
of
be true?
food
And 2,
education,
as
and some adults,
our
like
dear
your mother,
commenter Elliot
are
has
better
pointed
at
out,
providing
there is
for
a
those
bizarre
mistakes
form of
than
maximalism
fathers.
where things
Look,
connected.
you're
Is the
lucky that
fact
your mom
that
is
this
smart.
puppet's
Smarter than
chest,
I am.
hairy,
Anyway,
supposed to be
sometimes the
connected to
realization
Proto
of those
Michael having a
mistakes
hairy
leads you to
chest?
following other mistakes halfway across the country in
Like,
hope of
is that
finding some
because he's a
dream,
proto, he's more of a
youthful
man now, so
dream
he's got his
with
shirt
nice
off,
legs.
and he's got his
Only
chest hair or
those legs
something?
aren't as
Is
small
that
as your
what
mom's,
you were trying to
but
do?
Man. Anyway, yeah. So, hopefully this doesn't screw you up too badly. Just, yeah, you can have all my stuff. I left most of it here.
By the way, I do admit
It's
I find
like
this
your birthright
entire
or
bit to be
whatever.
really
So,
sad.
my clothes are a bit big, but you'll grow into them, and then you can dress just like your old man. Try not to make the same mistakes I made.
I do
Okay.
feel bad for Alex.
This is excellent characterization and understanding how Alex turned out the way that he is and how he builds relationships with other people, and it is the fact that he's got severe abandonment issues.
That explains Panda. It all connects. And I do think that this game would have probably been taken a lot better if YIIK 1.0 wasn't a burning pile of shit. Because it was. You fixed it. I'm glad. But there's still a lot of problems. And most importantly, and especially if somehow Allenson has found this and listened to me insult him for 20 minutes? If so, I'm clearly wrong and you have much thicker skin than I realized. Feel free to call me a stupid bitch at that point. Let me make a comment, though. Your game will never be popular. YIIK is never going to suddenly come out and matter to anyone. People have moved past it, and we are in a game-rich environment. There are so many games based off of Earthbound that if you wanted more Earthbound-y game, you can get it fucking anywhere. And while this game isn't exclusively based on is based on Earthbound, and I frankly feel like people lean too heavily on comparing it to Earthbound, there's a lot of other games that say they're based on Earthbound that are a lot more interesting and a lot less problematic, both in like playing it and the core text. Undertale is right there. You have Lisa the Painful right over there. You've got, oh fuck, I'll put its name on here. There's this really good Earthbound inspired game where you're the mayor and your party is made of people in the town, and I'll find it. It's quite good. I could probably just put some more Earthbound inspired games on the screen. There's all sorts. You're not in a market you're going to win, and people have already made up their mind. You are correct in places, but hearing you talk about how, well, people decide on their opinions based on what their opening experience, that the moment they see something, they are building their preconceptions and they won't typically change it unless something is really blah 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 blah. You did that about the essays. You did that about the influencers. You did that about the fans. You are no better. Don't. Just be better. Just make a new game. Make a
Move
new
on.
game, and I bet you people will care. I will guarantee if once again, somehow, magically, they've made it this far, I will guarantee 100% that we will play and record a full Let's Play or make some kind of review or synopsis or stream it. I will interact with whatever you make. I am curious. I want to see what you can do, but you have to let go of this hate. It is poisoning you. And whatever. Let's actually talk about the game and not me. By the way, I should point out one last thing is the reason why I'm this energetic is that I have not stopped thinking about this since I saw the video 2.5 days ago. Just before me and Toll went to bed, I saw the video, listened to the first 5 minutes, and then I swear to God, I stayed up the entire night, laying in bed, rolling around, infuriated. And then I woke up, went on a walk, got home, immediately began working, and spent that entire time thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about YIIK. I can't help it. I don't know why. I wish I could stop.
You somehow managed to make your YIIK fixation worse and angrier.
I don't want to think about YIIK anymore. I want to get through this Let's Play. I want to see all the new content, and then I want to hear Axe Studios say we're making Sunset Paradise or something. It's some new game with a new idea, and I can come play it and enjoy it. And I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're just gonna keep making YIIK. There's oh, I don't want to talk over this. I like Yavanna. This is Yavanna, right? No, it's Yamana? If you're not paying attention, you should just read this. I mean, I can do it. Alex, you ever been so... fuck, no, it's too late now.
Most people can't. When everything falls into place, you are filled with pure joy and peace. You realize that it won't last forever. So when it's gone...
it's all... fuck it. It's about loss. It's specifically about how loss appears to be the driving core identity of Essentia as a character, that she is terrified of loss, and that's what drove her many alternate lives to become robots, which is fucking same.
What?
Oh, also, I
What's wrong
didn't
with
lose episode 16, so we're just gonna be like talking in a completely different way. we're not recording it. I want to get to the new YIIK content. I've been excited for new YIIK content. I want to get ahead. I don't want to look at fucking Yuzu again.
I mean, it was a good cutscene with Yuzu, but to be fair.
Yeah, I think our original... Honestly, I'm really sad to have lost our time recording this. That was just yet another fuck up that we have to involve in the process of making this art, which I wonder how Allenson would feel about referring to this Let's Play as art. I hope he would agree that all forms of expression are art, and that as identifiably important as anything else are the mistakes. That's why AI art is just not very good. Because when you see I can't believe I'm talking about... I mean, we are in the robot dungeon. One of the core identity problems with AI art is that when you talk about it, when you look at some piece of art, like I'll put something I've drawn recently up. I'll put the Prince of Fish up. This is a big monster. It's very cool looking. It's inspired by a few things that have haunted my brain.
It's fucking killed my character.
Yeah, it flattened her character like nothing. It was very funny. It is flawed. There are errors I've made in this image. I'll take some fucking red lines and I'll circle it all over the fucking place. But those mistakes are part of the art. They are part of what is important. When you look at a piece of AI art, those mistakes do not depict some part of the human soul. They don't depict some choice made by a human. It's by an algorithm shredding images and then reconfiguring them together. It is not... How do I put this? There's no soul. There's no fucking life in it. And while some people are happy to consume that slop, it's because they were looking for slop to begin with. Slop consumers are not what you would call thoughtful. The guy who does nothing but jerk off on blonde women picking up bread, his ass, he didn't care. But, like, the things that are wrong with YIIK is why I care so deeply about YIIK. Why I have thought for so long about this series. See, at this point, I guess it is now a series. And I don't let the hate control you. This is just for general for the listeners who I like to think of myself as being halfway intelligent, which maybe is a mistake. But I've found that one of the core mistakes most humans make is that they perceive, how do I put this? They don't think about how their emotions are controlling them. They tell themselves they do, but most of the time they're not, like, actually thinking about it. Hey, I wonder if I'm a really big fucking idiot and a really stupid, dumb son of a bitch. Daughter of a bitch? Whatever. I'm a stupid tranny. Did I forget something important in that? Did I just look at a fresh, hot baby ready to go in the oven? Wait, that's it. Whatever. And I just missed it? Wow.
It is the opinion of the show that you should not put babies in ovens.
I disagree. Witcher 3 scene goes here.
What happens
Clearly
in
the
Witcher
right
3?
We'll have to play Witcher 3 at some point. It's a very good game. Despite the fact that Witcher 1 and 2 are not good games. I mean, they have good parts to them, but they're very unpleasant to play. Witcher 3 still doesn't have the best combat in the world, but it's fun. Anyway, what was I talking about? AI art?
Mistakes in
Oh,
art.
yeah. Yeah, the errors add to the canvas. You have to embrace them. And most importantly, if people are critiquing you, it can be really hard to deal with. And when you're getting that many critiques from gamers, people who barely understand the media they consume, and it's honestly difficult to convince the average gamer that art is art, that they aren't the brightest batch of folks, and I can fully appreciate how terrible it would be to be attacked repeatedly by these people. But that doesn't mean there weren't a bunch of real good faith comments by people who did care that you are now slopping together with the idiots. To give a great example and to break the rule that we're not supposed to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, there is a brand of idiot who is currently defending Dawntrail, the deeply unpopular expansion, by going, well, actually it's really good, and all those people who don't like it, they're just bigots. It's just because Wu Clement's voiced by a trans person. And,
No.
you know, those people will just blame me for having internalized transphobia or something, but, honey, sister, no.
It is not the fault of the voice actor, the writing and the directing and the everything about the game is bad. You cannot ignore the fact that things are poorly done on that ground.
That the game hasn't meaningfully changed in 10 years, just smoothed down and made the dungeons more exciting. Look at those assholes over there taunting me. I've been thinking about those assholes for months. I'm gonna get over there and kill them all. I'm not gonna talk about 14. I just wanted to use it as an example. Don't do that. You have to figure out the good to the bad faith comments, and that obviously sucks because, like, I also gotta stop saying like. I'm becoming a valley girl. Every time I have to inject more HRT, I'm just like, oh my god, I just want to go get my nails done.
This is also my fault as I am a literal valley girl.
Also, there's some small part of me that is always prepared to turn into Lumpy Space Princess. Oh my god, Jessica, stop cheating on me with Todd!
I didn't realize Lumpy Space Princess was so, thoroughly etched into your mind.
Oh, I'm just secretly Lumpy Space Princess in a wig.
What about the bubblegum and Marceline coating we've been living with for 2 years?
That's just me trying to deny I'm just Lumpy Space Princess with several rubber bands on her body to make her look like Princess Bubblegum.
Lumpy Space Princess poured into a lab coat.
Excuse me, are you telling me that you associate yourself with Princess Bubblegum? She's like a fascist. I think that's problematic. Do you want to just talk about that since we're bobbling around?
Okay,
The inherent evil
Fascist?
of Princess Bubblegum?
I agree that Bubblegum is some kind of evil tyrant, but also fascist is something specific, and I don't know if it applies to her.
No, she's definitely an authoritarian,
Yeah.
but she's not a fascist.
I
mean, she does engage in some fascism during that war arc, though.
Oh yeah. Well, that comes hand in hand with the authoritarianism. She is in fact some kind of horrible irradiated gum monster that decided to become a girl, which I have to respect.
Yeah, I respect it. She's a girl boss. I get it. But also, she's not like a mentally stable person. And just because Marceline and Finn briefly act as a axle for her to be stable does not mean she's going to remain that way. Obviously, there's no further canon of Adventure Time to talk about, but the way that she behaves, it's clear she was probably on the other end of a very long, maybe psychosis is the wrong word. There's this one scene. No, wrong. There's this one scene where she's made a little guy and she's just like slicing him in half and re-stitching him back together and just watching. And it doesn't appear that she's doing anything important. I think she's just bored. She's some sort of eternal near deific god creature
who can create life.
Yeah. And also is an elemental. She isn't what you would call a good person, but she looks that way. And I think it's intentional that she's framed against Marceline, a person who appears evil, but is actually a very good person. Like, that's part of the dynamic. That's why they're more than the typical fucking bubblegum Marceline core ass lesbians you see all over the media landscape nowadays. Fucking Guild Wars has them, Final Fantasy XIV has them, I don't know, I just pointed to 2 MMOs. But, like, one of the most common accepted queer relationships is pretty blonde girl with scary goth lady. And, like, I love it. I want more, but I want it because it's, like, I gotta stop saying like. I gotta stop.
The magic
I enjoy it because Marceline and Bubblegum are well-rounded characters.
The magic of Marceline and Bubblegum is the fact that despite Marceline starting out as kind of a villain and a horror for Finn and Jake to be dealing with, she has a basis in humanity. She was raised by a normal human mother, and though the horrors have affected her, she still has that core, while Bubblegum is fundamentally a horror pretending to be a princess.
Well, she is a princess.
Yeah.
It's just like a title. It's not like there's some inherency to it. I think your framing is poor, but I otherwise think you're right. I would say that instead, I believe she has delusions of grandeur and has constructed this entire existence around her so that she isn't lonely because of her... Hi, Jeffrey. Sorry, I just wanted to give Jeffrey some silence. He deserves it. Oh, how do I put this? The value of some good lesbians to a plot cannot be denied. Vampire of Goth LP, which we just picked up, is kind of almost a side grade. It briefly sounds cooler than it is, because my first thought is it lifesteal? But it doesn't say it does lifesteal, and the numbers aren't that much better, and I like looking at Mystica Ultima LP Legend more, so... Did we pick up the horrible dumb sword for Essentia?
I don't think we picked up the horrible dumb sword yet.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen it in any combats, and that's when you break.
That is something I would say in general about YIIK, because it just feels like they wanted to make it like an anime or a cartoon or a book, and then they turned it into a game. And I can't say all of those elements have translated over correctly. In comparison, Undertale was a game for the moment it was conceived and the fever dream that bore it. You know about that, right?
Yeah, how the Toby Fox one day dreamt of the ending to the video game he wanted to make.
You're missing the part where he was really sick, and it was a wild, like, dream, and he came out of it with suddenly having a ambition in his mind. I'm sure Allison's and the other developers, I shouldn't just point at Andrew, that the game has a similar level of importance. The execution is not the
Undertale
same.
takes every possible advantage of the video game medium. Well,
It
YIIK just seems to resent
constantly,
it.
yeah, it constantly makes use of those elements to do fun things. It understands how to keep things novel. It plays with these ideas in a way that's really, by the way, this visual is fascinating.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I'm of the belief that this is a Alex room. This is Alex being, how do I put this? Feeling unstable about Essentia. It doesn't appear like he fully trusts Essentia, but he wants to.
He's a little afraid of this plastic woman.
Yeah, but he's also aroused because she has a face like one of Claudio's anime girls. Stupid comp. I hate you, Alex. I want to hit you several times. I forgot what I was saying because I was so previous comment from last episode, I believe it was Elliot, I hope I'm not getting that wrong, pointed out that the gothic entity, the one from the Mallrats, it has an oddly specific design that I vaguely noticed but I hadn't thought about. It has 3 heads. One is Alex's mother. One is the blue-haired ghost from the start of the game in front of the factory who disappears and we never see her again, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And the other one is the Mohawk guy who wants to fuck Carrie. Or Allison, rather. Yeah. So that's, I guess that is interesting because 2 of those I could associate with being punks and gothic, and while like associating punks and goths together to me implies that the creators of YIIK don't know there's a difference. Like there's a pretty core.
Right now. We almost just died ourselves.
Yeah, fuck you, you're dead too, you dumb stupid llama. Although I do like that comment. Anyway, I do think it's an interesting, like, these are 2 different forms of people involved in subversion and rebellion. But why is Alex's mom there? Honestly, I don't know. Is it intentional or were they just throwing things at the wall? I honestly want to think about this because it's an interesting statement.
I mean, that is the question you have to ask about pretty much every part of YIIK, especially as they engage with postmodernism and maximalism, as we've talked about over and over again. What is actually relevant to the immediate story and what is just them filling space?
Yeah, as I said, this is the problem with the incredibly dense but overly loose narrative that allows people to create really wild interpretations of the plot. And I suppose that's part of like postmodern art, is the self-expression, and you the person decide on what the art means, which I agree with. That makes sense. Although once again, if I make art and then everyone goes that art is shit, it would make me think, maybe I didn't do that so good. I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm not supposed to talk about it. Go on.
Part of a thing you learn in teaching or any kind of academic field is that the sign of actually understanding what you're doing is being able to explain it to others in a way that makes sense to them, that doesn't take 6 hours.
If you can't make someone understand, you probably didn't do it right. And there is like an anti-intellectual belief that like, if you can't explain it in 2 minutes or less, you have to be wrong. And if anyone ever says that to you, you should hit them with a hammer. That is anti-intellectualism. You cannot explain complicated ideas like astronomy in 2 sentences. You cannot go to the base. So did you hear about we might have found a planet with life on it?
What? No.
Low odds, admittedly, but there's some guys who are using and see, I'm gonna butcher this. There's some Canadians in Chile who are using various bits of astrological equipment to detect. They're detecting something that allows them to make a reading on what chemicals should be present on a planet. and then using that in order to try to determine what's there. And they believe there's some planet that has the signs of somewhere that would have a really diverse ecosystem of underwater life, because the chemicals they think they are detecting would be, how do I put this, that from the results of things like algae and life. They only, to our knowledge on this planet, appear as a byproduct of life. And while it is not a confirmed idea, and there are arguments for and against it, it would also mean that even if it wasn't, there is something going on that is deeply unique about that planet, because we haven't seen something like that before. That's pretty neat. I like that. One thing you'll need to understand about the souls inside of the soul space is that our timelines don't match up. We are not born the same year, we do not obviously die at the same time. As Nyla, I was mother of 3, a very intelligent scientist. My children, whose name I will not reveal, live with their father. I love their father very much, but he was a very impatient man, violent at times, and never with the children with me. He took the anger out on the men who worked for him. I was very lonely. I met a man who I loved. I gave myself to him in every way possible. I NTR'd him. The husband went away. He took the children. I became sick. I had a terminal illness. I made the robot. I didn't get all those details. The guy, her husband, is one of the 2 stupid twins. At least it's the stupid twin model. I hate those stupid twins.
I thought he looked
What was
bigger
I
than the
saying?
stupid twins.
No, it's the guy. You can tell because he's crossing his arms. Anyway, if someone tries to tell you that, like, if you can't explain it in 2 minutes or 2 sentences, they're fucking stupid. That is an argument for dum-dums who don't want to deal with complicated ideas. Don't listen to people who say things like that. Never do. But also, if you make a game like this and people... I've watched people play the game multiple times. I have played multiple chunks of the game for extended periods of time. I have watched completely silent Let's Plays of the game. I have watched people, positive and negative, play the game. And I still can't parse whether or not they intend for things to mean anything at all. Like, what is just vague? Does the poo matter? Does the slime girl matter? Does the crocodile who's a pimp matter? What is that supposed to say? If that sewer is Rory's mind dungeon in essence, then is the pimp crocodile attempting to say something about his mother? Or am I just taking few pieces of ambient information and connecting the dots, even if there is no dots to connect? Like, that's a problem with anyone trying to take this maximal... By the way, I'm stupid because I don't know I'm supposed to break those pillars.
So the green indicator is not loaded in your head. There you go.
Yeah, nothing implies to me that that would be the thing that does that, but whatever. The problem with those kinds of maximal reads is... By the way, clearly has Bella's face and is clearly being voiced by Bella. And then says...
So please, bear with me as I...
That's a Bella. Bella says something nearly identical.
I lived as a young girl with my parents in Pontresina, Switzerland. I had 4 brothers.
Although the way that Essentia is standing kind of makes it feel like she has her hand up her ass.
My father was always away on
it's a bit
business, and my mother was a
looming.
teacher at my local school.
Mm-hmm.
I spent most of my time alone, wandering the Pontresina Valley. I dreamed about writing and other worlds. In that valley, I found another world. The world of my other selves. Getting lost in solitude is the quickest way to otherworldliness. Someone who is surrounded by others can achieve this, but only if they are selfless. If you so love another person that you could follow them from the world itself, you can truly see the wonders of all the universes. But most of us are incapable of removing ourselves from our world, our own.
I sure love Monster.
No.
Time for a big dramatic sip.
Solitude and
No!
loneliness. Longing for another world can certainly exist.
Ah.
What a lovely child. I realize now how much potential I had in that life. and how much of it was wasted by entering
I
the
honestly kind of
solstice
want to come back to this
prematurely.
dungeon and look
Let us
around.
continue.
I wonder
This is
if
only
these
our first
rooms,
stop on our tour of my
because
powerful life.
this single square does look different in a way with the way that the microchippy floor is, that it makes me wonder if it's a fabrication. But also there's pieces of information there that imply that Essentia must know Bella really well if she was lying. Honestly, I don't know. My current belief is that Sammy doesn't have any actual relevance to Essentia, but I do actually believe the Vela thing. But I'm not sure. It could both be bunk. Unfortunately, it's difficult to make a read on this kind of thing.
It's
Because
difficult.
a lot of the art is too maximalist for its own fucking good. I can give a good example of this. I'm going to... Oh, if you don't like being compared to The Room, how do you feel about comparing it to Dark Souls 2? Dark Souls 2, fundamentally, and I say this is... Dark Souls 2 is my favorite Souls game. I'm not kidding when I say these words. But also, it has some of the worst lore out of the entire series, and arguably some of the worst lore out of any of the FromSoft games I've played. It is deeply contrived in a lot of places, and had to be almost completely rewritten in Scholar because the original version was incredibly butchered. So now it's difficult to even tell what is and isn't true. And most importantly, a lot of it, how do I put this? It's just like, why are there lion men? Oh, because Seath made them. Why did this happen? Because Aldia made them. Why did this happen? Some dickhead did it. And that's like most of the plot points. And it's what makes Dark Souls 2 story be deeply, deeply miserable in places. And also why people draw a lot of very strange lines and are unsure of even the most basic ideas, which is also true of Dark Souls 1. There's all sorts of things. I could talk about the Souls series and lore endlessly. I do not think I have very many opinions that other people share about the series. I also am aware of the deep lore that Miyazaki made Dark Souls 3 to delete Dark Souls 2 out of existence. So, you know, we won't talk about that, though.
That's real gamer behavior.
Well, no, it's anti-gamer behavior because he doesn't like gamers. Specifically,
he's a gaming racist.
Might as well. He's a gaming racist. I might as well do the briefest summary. Dark Souls 1 is meant to be a concentrated solo plot where the end of the game is entirely based on whatever you want it to do, and that the importance of Dark Souls is that it is perceived by itself, so that the ending is whatever you think linking the fires or becoming the Dark Lord could mean. It could be hopeful, it could be pessimistic, it's your decision. And that Dark Souls 2 completely undoes it and makes it so that any decisions you were thinking about were clearly, canonically meaningless. So Dark Souls 3 is actually attempting to do two things. One, it's attempting to repeatedly shit on Dark Souls 2 and fix the problems that Miyazaki perceived with what it did to his vision and the writer's vision, because Miyazaki isn't the only person involved in that kind of thing. And two, it is attempting to make it so that Dark Souls exists in a multiple timeline situation, where Dark Souls 1 only occurs... Dark Souls 1 occurs in a timeline in which the chosen undead exists, and that Dark Souls 2 exists in a timeline where Dark Souls 1 did not happen. So that 2 and 3 are both in effectively an alternate branch of a timeline, which can be proven by the fact that there are characters who should be dead walking around, and clearly things kept happening despite the fact that when we, the chosen undead, went through, things had to have occurred. And this is complicated. It doesn't really matter right now. See, there's another great example of lamp shading. It says Wendy is born anew. Probably. Oh wait, a good scene.
Rigged.
Good scene.
Another win. I'm surprised the auctioneers aren't getting suspicious.
I don't care. Let them come. I've got protection.
So fucking cool, Michael.
I wish I never met him. I wish my world never became twisted. I wish I was still with Allison back in the old Frankton.
Explain it to me. Talk it out.
Whatever you want, no matter how supernatural or immoral, the demon auction can provide it. Mostly it's used by deranged perverts with abstract desires. By rigging the auction, I get to choose what we all bid on. Then whoever wins,
That is
I
both
convince them to
deranged
send me
and
the
perverted.
goods. I made everyone bid on the same thing. A photo of Allison. And I'm not bidding on old family photos. The moment I win the auction, something photographs the missing person, proving they're still alive, still out there.
So the auctioneers are lying.
I don't know. Distortions of her, maybe. Parallel versions, even.
Well, I don't know anything about the demon auction. I'm just here watching over you. Until you undo your original sin. Relax, you're a smart guy. You'll put it together. Maybe we'll even see you go from original sinner to original winner.
Original sin. And what exactly did I do that was so immoral?
You jerked off to Fluttershy porn.
You're complicit in the twisting.
I think that's what they call it, twisting.
You just need to get the
First
puzzle
you flop
pieces
and then you
and put
twist.
them in the right order. Then you can see what you did wrong.
This puzzle sucks. What am I supposed to do with 3 sets of memories? The partition is breaking down each day.
You know, I really like
The
the
memories
scene,
all
but I
feel
can't
like
deal with
mine.
the fact that there's clipping going on.
The more
and
time I
clipping
spend with
background.
him, the more
There's no
this
reason
world
for those
feels like the
screens to
real
be
one.
dark.
No matter how broken
Some
and
of them are
fucked it
white
is.
too. One of them appears to be red.
Michael was lonely because Allison went missing. He looked everywhere for her, became obsessed, eventually started onism, hoping other lonely people could help find her. Then you met them, the auctioneers. You refused their offer, and now you're here with me, a lowly and creative original sinner. Twisted realities, all in service of some delusional asshole. Whenever you say no to a bad deal, some sucker will materialize to make the mistake for you.
MAGA.
Only in this case, everyone adjacent was fucked.
Michael, you're so cool. I hope they don't downgrade you for no reason.
How do I know after all this time that those memories are any more real than my memories with Alex?
Moments lost ever found. I miss that picture of you.
Yeah, so
We've
that was
been
fun.
we've been describing the camera as Michael's stand up until this point, but I think it would be more accurate to put him on the level of the golden alpaca.
He's no, I don't know, because the golden alpaca is supposed to be universal constant.
Hmm.
The camera is another Michael.
The camera's another Michael. Okay, that would make sense.
It appears that Michael has 3 sets of memories, and they are twisting his brain noodle. And I'm not saying this is correct, but it appears there's original Michael. I'm personally convinced, and I think in the next episode I'm gonna say something like this with no context, but I think the other 2 are the camera and the crow. I could be wrong about that. I might just be misunderstanding. we aren't there for me figuring everything out yet, so. Oh, by the way, here's me. Hide your thoughts, how you really feel about society. Do your best and you can't ask for anything more of yourself. Just remember, you can keep as quiet as you like. One of these days, somebody's gonna find out find you out for who you really are. Yeah, deranged comment to read as a trans woman who's currently pretending very deeply that I'm not one to everyone around me, while Alex is looking at the trans version of themselves.
I don't know, with the knowledge of what happens in the next episode, which we have already recorded, I'm reading that differently.
A vessel for human suffering. Probably.
Probably.
Stop with the lamp shading. Sorry, what were you saying?
I am reading that differently with a reveal that happens in the next episode, which we have already recorded. In the next Soul Space
about
segment.
Who you really are? Are you talking about Yuzu?
No, I'm not talking about Yuzu. I'm talking about who that woman is, or and who she is supposed to be.
Well, she's alternate Alex.
I don't think so.
Yes, it is. It's the Alex model.
My explanation would require spoiling what happens in the next episode.
Are you saying you think it's Carrie?
Yes.
Or Allison? Because I don't think I agree with you. I'm pretty sure that's the Lady I'm pretty sure that's Lady Alex model. Admittedly, I don't know if I've come back to say this correctly. You were correct about Soul Survivor X is not Vela. It is in fact Essentia.
Wow.
Or Jocasta. You were right. We had a big argument. I looked like a big stupid bitch and yelled at you and called you dumb and said your butt smells and your butt is made of farts. And in reality, all of that is me. I have the fart butt.
You have the fart butt.
In
You said
fact,
you were going to go get screenshots and compare them to Vela directly, but I'm right.
Yeah, I did. It's 100% Jocasta's face on the Soul Survivor Act. I was completely incorrect.
It doesn't help the fact that a lot of the women in this game look very similar.
Yeah,
and
they
all
do
got like almost the same
shape,
haircut.
You were right. I was just,
as always. It was the Vela dungeon.
Yeah, I didn't think that it does connect to some of the other parts about the connection between those two characters.
Right.
I sure hope that the game doesn't ruin all those connections by having them become Alex's harem.
Squinting in concern, thinking about the beach photo.
Yes, the beach photo that I can't stop thinking about.
I hate the beach photo. I hate what it indicated. And when it came out, how it haunted me. Was it the first image of Asuka?
I think that may have come out the same day as the trailer, but it was the first time I saw Asuka and thus went digging around. To my knowledge, I think it might have been one of the first reveals of her existence.
I feel so bad. Asuka, you didn't
and it's
deserve that.
Her and the other two girls threatening to step on Alex's head.
After they have clearly buried him at the beach and they're all wearing the God.
That should have been
It's cringe.
It's quite cringe. Are you gonna miss another breakable pillar?
It's gonna take me a while to notice. Here, let's have another conversation that YouTube won't like. As a fetish artist, which is what I am, I draw smut. I accept this fact about myself. Oh, look, it's Wilfred.
You are a professional
and it appears
pervert.
Yeah, I'm a professional pervert. We should talk about that briefly. It appears that Wilfred is somehow involved with Nyla. Later comments we will see in the next episode confirm this fact and make it clear that the robots were originally designed by Nyla. Most likely Nyla is from the same timeline as Yuzu and was partially responsible for the big robots he has that we'll get into it. Hey, look who it is. It's Proto Alex.
Look, it's Twink Alex.
I think his name is he has a name in the dream scenes. Maybe we should re-record 16.
See, 16 was good, which is part of the
I want to get the authentic, but whatever. By the way, I'm just misunderstanding what's going on. I'm supposed to break the pillars, find a baby, give it to somebody, and then I can chop their head off.
Yeah. You're
What was I
missing
saying?
the.
I'm a professional pervert, and I think that a large component of human psychology is sexuality. Unfortunately, I'm Freud pilled in that way. I don't believe in most other things that Freud thought because he fundamentally was looking at it from a flawed perspective. Not that I also am not. Anyway, I don't think there's anything wrong with being horny for multicultural women or men in
Vaguely
general.
ethnic.
I don't. You know, I'm starting to think about it. Maybe it is Allison. I don't know. I would believe you're right on that one. I'm not saying there's something wrong with feet fetishism. Fucking, what's his name? The guy who made Inglourious Bastards?
Oh god, Tarantino.
Tarantino. He's a foot fetishist. He puts it in his art, and his art is fantastic. I'm not against it. I love Bayonetta. I love Nier Automata. I love all sorts of things that have sexuality as a core theme. There's nothing wrong with it, and I think involving sexuality in this game is fine. But when I see feet fetishist content, I squint. Not that there's anything wrong with feet fetishists, besides the fact that they tend to be, unwell. I don't think there's any basis for it. I think that just men in general are unwell. But when you see wiki feet, it's hard to,
It adds a layer to how poorly we handle sexual development and shame that makes things even worse.
I do feel really sad about the "I want to be with you" comment from this poor ghost thing. I felt that way a lot of times in my life. Unfortunately, she has jiggle physics on her legs, and it entertains me deeply to watch them wiggle. Anyway, there's nothing wrong with it. I think a little bit of booby is fine. A little bit of butt, a little bit of horny. Fine, whatever. I don't think YIIK is so far showing a level of... I think that image is a deep representation of objectification rather than empowered sexuality. And while there is still a space for objectification, while I have a lot of problems with Cyberpunk 2077 and understands the idea of objectification in art and specifically in promotional ads, that is very smart. I'm a fan. It makes me happy. I like it. It's fun. When I see that specific image, it feels objectifying to look at the girls in that way.
I mean, this game isn't actually saying anything about objectification in the way that especially the cyberpunk genre itself uses objectification.
Maybe you should rearrange that sentence in your head, though, because we are currently looking at the robot woman.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it does have some things to say, but I don't think that has anything deeper to say than you want to go to Pound Town with Chandra, which, fair, same, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, sure, at least she's an adult.
That's true, at least she is an adult. Persona 3 can't even make that fucking bar with not reload, with the mobile edition. Persona 4 and 5 aren't any fucking better. It how do I rearrange this sentence correctly? I'm never going to side with Puritans and purity politics, and if you if you see something that you think is cringe or you find some sexuality uncomfortable, there's nothing wrong with that. But you shouldn't immediately be like, that shouldn't exist, that shouldn't be here, that shouldn't be allowed to be seen. That is just a trick to constantly stamp down on anything that doesn't fit into the quote-unquote correct societal norms, and is just one step towards making it so women or trans people or gays or blacks or some minority or another aren't allowed to have rights.
You don't get to participate with society because I think you're icky.
If the sentence that comes out of your mind is, oh, well, actually, perverts aren't trying to show drag queens to children, or whatever. No, they aren't. You're talking about a specific subset of deviants, perverts, generally speaking, want nothing more than, by the way, I still don't know how that, like, this puzzle is. I'm just gonna flail at it until I figure it out, and I'll never know why. It'll just happen. Don't buy into it. Like, I'm not asking anyone watching this to go look at my big booby short snacks. I did draw some robot women. If anyone would like to look at some robot ladies, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to. You don't, and more importantly, I don't need you to rearrange whether or not you're comfortable. Well, good job, me. Comfortable with something. That's not what anyone wants. But you should just leave people alone and let them have fun. And I already accept the fact that because I create smut art, I am immediately going to be ostracized from most genres of, like, online communities. Like, if you do content for adult anything, they're not gonna treat you normal. The corporation types. What's his name? That funny chubby Asian guy. I wish I remembered his fucking name. He makes really good YouTube shorts.
The one that
He made a
voices
good...
Senshi in the English dub of Dungeon
Yes,
Meshi?
the
Z-Frank.
Senshi voice act. It's not Z Frank.
You know what?
Z Frank is Z Frank is the guy who went on. He's pink guy.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I know who you're talking about. I do not remember his name.
That racism. That's what that is. You're a gaming racist.
I'm a gaming racist.
I will put his face here, or not his face. I will put his name here, and I will link to one of my favorite skits he's done. I can't remember the exact specifics. He made a comment on Twitter I once saw that he did some work for something that was kind of risky or adult or something, and he has been ostracized for it because he did. And like, you will be inherently denied access to things because you drew a butt.
There is.
And
right.
Sorry, go on.
There is also a strange inverse to that you can see with people who make children's content, in which, as an artist, they are never in their life allowed to step outside of children's content because, oh, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that happens to, like, the creators of Steven Universe.
Alex Hirsch.
And Alex Hirsch and Andy Stevens, who made She-Ra. You get put in this box, and any attempt to step out of the box is punished.
And more importantly, if you're a queer person, they're going to use anything they can to attack you. So it's just, if I am going to exist as a trans person, it means I'm going to be inherently a sexual object for a large proportion of society, regardless of what I do. I might as well just own it. At least I'll have, oh, hey, I made it. Look. One of the most disturbing visuals I've seen. I don't like it, I love it. Very spooky looking. Also, there's this thing that lets you buy batteries.
The pre-boss fight, the vending machine.
Sorry, I've been so sidetracked I didn't even mention. So, Essentia has some kind of battery mechanic where you feed her batteries and she does more damage, but there's no way to visually, at least as far as I can tell when she is using those batteries or what percentage of battery juice she's at. It's just assumed that it's happening. So, regardless, never listen to anyone about purity politics, but also there is a difference between, like, a good form of sexualization and a bad one. There is a difference between Automata and Stellar Blade. But let's not stir that nest. Grumsh will come out of a wall and kill us. Or Grums? Whatever, that moron.
Yeah, that fucking... That chibi avatar X-user.
That gaming racist.
That gaming racist.
Yeah, so we've now officially recorded this, and I'm going to immediately say we have a choice tool for us. This doesn't matter at the end of the video. Either A, we move on to Undertale, or B, we skip past 16 and go to 17 so that we can do more YIIK. Let's everyone be involved and hear your opinion, because you're gonna decide my fate.
I'm gonna decide your fate. Is it gaming racist that I want to play Undertale?
No, it's in fact something I also want to do. It just means I have to fiddle around to get everything working again. That's fine though. I want to play Undertale. I want to play a game that makes me happy. It doesn't make me go,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this recreation of YIIK 15. YIIK 15.5.
I post, YIIK 15 IV. Like, please tune in for 6 months from now when we're gonna come back and re-record this again.
No.
And that'll be our our redo, because by that point we'll have played through all of the YIIKs currently existing, and clearly we will have changed our minds and become YIIK cultists. All hail the one true YIIK.
Yeah, I'll see you in the blue robe and the Alex mask. Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. Like, okay, bye, listener.
Goodbye.